My name is Mirza Muhammad Ali Zunuzi, and I had the privilege of hearing about the new message from the Bab himself during his previous imprisonment in Tabriz. I was determined to follow him to Chehriq and anywhere else he might be sent. I cannot explain it, but my only desire was to sacrifice myself to the new faith that I had accepted. Of course, this worried my family to no end. My stepfather was very concerned with my strange behavior, and he confined me to the house and kept me under strict watch. I was devastated to be away from the Bab, and I spent those weeks in prayer and meditation, imploring God to allow me to attain the presence of my beloved. One day, when I was lost in prayer, I had an extraordinary vision. I saw the Bab standing before me and calling to me. I threw myself at his feet. He looked at me and said, "Rejoice. The hour is approaching when in this very city I shall be suspended before the eyes of the multitude and shall fall a victim to the fire of the enemy. I shall choose no one except you to share with me the cup of martyrdom. Rest assured that this promise which I give you will be fulfilled." A calm came over me, and I began to wait patiently as I knew the day would arrive when I would be reunited with my beloved. It took 2 years for this vision to be fulfilled. I learned that the Bab was in Tabriz. I made my way there, and as the Bab was being conducted to the cell, I forced my way through the crowd and threw myself at his feet. "Send me not from thee, O Master," I pleaded with him. I begged to be allowed to follow him wherever he might go. "Arise," answered the Bab, "and rest assured that you will be with me. Tomorrow you shall witness what God has decreed." Needless to say, I was immediately arrested along with 2 of my companions, and we were placed in the same cell as the Bab and his secretary. That evening, the Bab was aglow with joy. He spoke with cheerfulness to me and the other 3 loyal followers confined with him in his prison cell. "Tomorrow," he said to us, "will be the day of my martyrdom. Would that one of you might now arise and, with his own hands, end my life. I prefer to be slain by the hand of a friend than by that of the enemy." Shocked, we look at each other. How could none of us possibly think of taking so precious a life? We remained silent, tears running down our faces. Suddenly something came over me. I could not understand it, but I was moved to jump to my feet. I exclaimed with joy and enthusiasm that I was ready to obey whatever the Bab might command. The Bab then declared, "This same youth who has risen to comply with my wish will, together with me, suffer martyrdom. Him will I choose to share with me its crown." Early the next morning, on July 9th, 1850, the Bab was dictating to his secretary when an official suddenly interrupted their conversation and bade the Bab to follow him outside. The Bab clearly explained to the official, "Not until I have said to him all those things that I wish to say can any earthly power silence me. Though all the world be armed against me, yet shall they be powerless to deter me from fulfilling the last word, my intention." But the official did not possess the comprehension to grasp the significance of the Bab's words. He made no reply. He ushered the Bab out of his cell and took him to the house of the most prominent clergy of the city of Tabriz, who, without hesitation, signed the decree of his execution. Indeed, the Bab kept his promise. the honor of martyrdom alongside my beloved would finally be bestowed upon me. Later that morning, we were both conducted to the prison courtyard, where a crowd of nearly 10,000 people had gathered to witness his execution. He was delivered to Sam Khan, the commander of the regiment of the soldiers ordered to execute him. With one look, Sam Khan found himself greatly affected by the Bab's demeanor and behavior. He recognized the divine power latent within this great being. Sam Khan was suddenly seized with such trepidation that he feared his actions would bring the wrath of God upon him. "I profess the Christian faith," he explained to the Bab, "and entertain no ill will against you. If your cause be the cause of truth, enable me to free myself from the obligations to shed your blood." The Bab replied, "Follow your instructions, and if your intentions be sincere, the Almighty is surely able to relieve you from your perplexity." Sam Khan ordered his men to drive an iron nail into the wall and attach 2 ropes to it. From these ropes, the Bab and I were suspended. I begged Sam Khan to place me in such a way that my body would shield that of the Bab's. The regiment arranged itself in 3 rows, each made up of 250 men. The first row opened fire, then the second, and moments later the third. When the smoke from the 750 rifles cleared away, the astonished crowd saw a scene they could hardly believe, a scene even I could not believe. I was standing before them, alive and unhurt, and the Bab had disappeared from sight. The bullets had only cut the ropes from which we had been suspended. Upon recovery from this shock, the officials began a frantic search for the Bab. They found him seated in his cell, completing his interrupted conversation with his secretary. He then said, "I have finished my conversation. Now you may proceed to fulfill your intention." Stunned by what had taken place, Sam Khan refused to carry out the execution again and ordered his men to leave the premises immediately. Unabashed, the officials summoned a new regiment of 750 soldiers. Once again, the Bab and I were brought into the courtyard, and I was placed in such a manner that my head were rested on the breast of my master. The soldiers opened fire. This time the bullets found their mark. Our bodies were completely shattered, yet our faces remained almost untouched. As the regiment was preparing to open fire, the Bab addressed these final words to the gazing multitude. "Had you believed in me, O wayward generation, every one of you would have followed the example of this youth, who stood in rank above most of you, and willingly would have sacrificed himself in my path. The day will come when you will have recognized me. That day I shall have ceased to be with you."